The beauty of JRPGs has to be that they can be interpreted in a variety of different ways. Everyone that plays the game can have a different interpretation and different connections to certain events and characters, just simply because of whatever has went on in that person's life that allows them to make certain connections to characters or parts of a story. With Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the value of life and the pain of loss are explored heavily and are central themes that are focused on in the main story. And when talking about loss and the pain of loss, I feel that anyone that has experienced loss will view this game in a particular light. But even then, I know for me, losing loved ones in a variety of different ways, that really allowed me to connect with this game and feel a lot of the really touching and emotional moments more, because I can connect with them. I could connect those moments to specific areas in my life where I've lost people, loved ones. And so, without any further ado, this video, I'm going to be talking about the pain of loss in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There's going to be spoilers. I'm not sure how heavy spoilers, but regardless, you shouldn't watch. Well, there's going to be pretty heavy spoilers, but I would recommend, if you have not played the game, go play the game and then come back. Particularly beat the game, because I'm going to be talking about pretty much mid-game and end-game spoilers. So you should be... This is clearly a spoiler video, so go play the game, or at least watch the cutscenes and then come back to this video. So, the main form of loss that we can see right off the bat is just seeing people die is just something that the main party is used to. They have connections to their friends, and we know that there is pain when losing friends. However, it is commonplace, which, not saying it makes it easier, but it makes it more expected. If something is expected, if an unfortunate event is expected, doesn't necessarily make it easier to deal with, but you do have a sense of anticipation, so it's not complete shock. But regardless, we see a shift in how death can impact the party by they see their friends die all the time. They have to kill other people all the time. Yet, at the end of the story, we see death have a different meaning. Or, not even death, just loss have a different meaning. Because we see the party actually able to develop really strong bonds within the party. So you see the Agnes and Kevis parts are able to form really strong relationships and bonds with one another. And so at the end of the game, when they are separated, that sense of loss akin to death is elevated, because the relationships they built throughout the story, compared to having people die every day, this was different. This was people who they knew they had emotionally bonded with. Not saying that people that died in war weren't emotionally bonded with, but this was different because it was not expected. Having the world separate at the end, having that loss, that unexpected loss, hurt even more to the party. You could see it on their faces that they didn't want to let go. But even though in the moment it was hard, we did see it cut back after the world separated, after they were both running back towards each other, after all the parties like Noah and Mio were running towards each other, and Lanzatsen and all of them. After that point, we get a view on Noah, Lance, Uni, and Riku, and they look like they've accepted that this is what happened. And granted, that takes a whole lot longer for most people. Hell, honestly, people go their entire lives without even being able to fully accept loss. But regardless, it's something that is unavoidable. And as much as it may hurt, as much as we want to avoid it, as much as, you know, it's a hard part of life to deal with. You know, it is arguably one of the hardest parts in life to deal with, losing someone. Yet the story revolves around having to let go and move on. Like, there's no way of knowing what's going to happen in the future. No way of knowing. There's no way to guarantee anything in the future. You just got to keep going on. But never forget those memories. Never lose those impressions. That time you had with that person was real. That time you spent with that person was real, and no one can take that away. That was real. As long as you hold that tight, that's what's most important. You know, Zed and N were so afraid of letting the world continue, as it would result in loss. N would have to lose M, and no matter how hard he tried, it was going to happen. This shows that no matter what we do, loss is unavoidable. It's unavoidable. We're going to experience it at some point in our lives. And I feel like most people that have played this game likely have experienced that loss and understand how much it sucks. Particularly the closer someone is that you lose to them, that hurts. Damn, that hurts. But you have to accept it, and that's not easy, and the party shows that that's not easy. They don't want to just let go, but they realize it's a part of life. And ultimately, you know, here's when I get into something a little deeper. The party is presented, obviously the party accepts, you know, having to let go, and like having to accept the fact that they're going to lose, you know, the people that they grew close with. But particularly when you look at N and Zed trying to keep M alive, it made N still looked sad. Noah said that N looked like he had sadness in his eyes, right? Because he lost a child. But not only that, him trying to keep M alive was selfish, and ultimately M was not happy. M did not want to be stuck. She wanted the world to play out as it's supposed to. And this is where I have a little bit more of a personal connection. There are times when, you know, a loved one is in a condition where you can either make a choice to keep them alive, but the cost of that would be they would not be in a happy state, or you let what's gonna happen. And I'm particularly saying this because this really hit me, because I know this is not 100% the same, because this was relation to my grandma, and N and M was more romantical, but I think you can make the connection because when my grandma had COVID back in, she got COVID back in 2020, and she was already kind of sick. She had schizophrenia and dementia. Well, schizophrenia that developed into dementia, and she got sick, and then her immune system was already compromised, and then she got COVID and had to go on a ventilator. And the doctors ultimately gave me and my family a choice. We could either put a trach in and try to get her breathing artificially, because she was not breathing on her own or strongly enough, or we could take off the ventilator and let her go. And you know, it was we want grandma to be there, right? We wanted grandma to stay. Well, my dad wanted his mom to stay, of course, but you know, we had to come to the decision that if we were to prolong her life in that way, it would be not her breathing, and we don't even know what state she would be in, and it would just be selfish of us to try and keep her there just for us because we wanted her there. And ultimately we realized that we couldn't hold on to her even though we wanted to. We really couldn't. And you know, that pain of loss, I still deal with that pain of loss every day, you know. But it's one of those things where it's like, you cannot force something like that, because it wouldn't, you know, it's not what she would have wanted. I know it's not what. And then if anything, she came back, we don't even know if she would come back 100% conscious and whatnot, and we don't even know what state she would be in mentally. So it's one of those things where she would not be happy, but it really wouldn't help us either, you know. It's like, it would be selfish if we tried to keep grandma alive in a state that she would not be happy with. She wouldn't even be, we don't even know what her conscience would be like, because she had been unconscious for at least a month at that point. So anyway, having to make the decision to let go was hard. And not only that, in certain situations where you don't even get the choice, most situations when you lose the loved one, it just happens. That's hard, you know. To have to lose is to lose someone you grew close to. That is someone that you spent a lot of your life with. It's not easy, but ultimately it's a part of life to let go. And I feel like Xenoblade 3 shows that, because you see the party grow to love each other, all of them. And ultimately it got to a point where they had to be separate. And they didn't die, of course, but not seeing each other again and having the worlds reset in the way that they did, it's almost equivalent to death, because they don't know what the future is. And you know, a part of losing loved ones, is that you don't know what the future is, but you hold on to the hope that you're going to see them again. Now, people may have this hope through religion or spirituality or whatever people believe in, but personally I believe I'm very religious. But regardless, I think that this game shows that you have to keep the memories and the moments you had with them alive inside of you, because those are real. And regardless of what the future has, regardless of what's taken away, the time you had with that person was real and can never be taken away. And regardless of the pain of loss will hurt. That shit hurts really hard. But what's important is the memories and the time you had with that person, because that's more important, and that's what they would want you to focus on after they're gone. Not focusing on the loss, but the life and the time you had with them. Regardless of the pain of loss, the memories are far more important. That's what I got out of Xenoblade 3 personally.